Hello. What I want to talk to you about today is about rapport at work and why it's important. And for me, I believe it's a foundation of any working relationship. And whether we're talking about how teams are working together or how people are interacting with customers or suppliers or between departments, but more importantly, also about how managers and leaders are working and operating. And I want to share a model with you about rapport and to explain why it's important. And the fact is that even if you're skilled, if you don't have that connection with somebody in some sort of way, you're going to be sort of on a hiding to nothing. And for me, rapport is about that connection, there's almost a continuum. And so at one end, you've got the sort of rapport that you've got with a good friend who you don't have to say anything, you know what each other are thinking. And at the other end, there's where you quite frankly, can't stand somebody. But there's a lot in between. And in the workplace, it's about having a working level of rapport. You're not going to be friends with everybody, but it's having a working level rapport. So I'm going to share a document with you and talk through it, or a model with you, and explain why this is so important. So I've got a little picture there, people tug of war, because I think without rapport, and I've seen it in my own life and also with my clients, is that without that rapport is you can have that sort of tug of war with other people. So this model explains that if you haven't got rapport, even if you agree with somebody, so if you're in a meeting, you agree with them, or maybe you want to give positive feedback to somebody, or even just thanking somebody, it can come across as patronizing. Whereas if you have got rapport with somebody, it's seen as encouraging. People are going to feel good about it. Oh, great, they agree with me, or thanks for that feedback, rather than almost wanting to brush it away when we feel patronized. And often managers kind of say to me is, oh, won't I be sort of come across as patronizing if I give praise? And it was like, well, no, not if you've got rapport. Then it will just actually encourage the person and strengthen the relationship you've got with them. Whereas on the other side of the equation, if you haven't got rapport and you disagree, or that you have to give some negative feedback, then it's likely to be seen as criticizing that person fundamentally. And you might wonder why sometimes with some individuals you say something and it's quite simple, and yet they have a very strong reaction to it. And it's probably because of the level of rapport. Whereas actually, if we do have rapport with people, is that when we disagree or we have to give feedback, they're much more likely to see it as reasonable. They might not agree straight away, but they're more likely to think about it and come back and agree and have a discussion about it. And I've certainly noticed with those people that I have, say, for example, colleagues where I've got a good level of rapport, we can have a very robust debate, but that relationship stays strong, and there isn't any falling out. And I believe that there's a constructive way of handling conflict. In fact, my second book is called Happy, Healthy Conflict, coming out shortly. So in terms of building rapport, there are lots of different techniques, and I'm going to cover those in a video, in my next video. But what I'd like you to think about those people you've got rapport with and those people you don't have rapport. So what is it that you can do with the people you've got rapport? So you might find, for one thing, that you can have a laugh with them. Usually there's not a lot of humour where you haven't got rapport with others. It might be that you can have those discussions, those difficult discussions, that they'll come to you. So maybe you're managing somebody, but you've got a good level of rapport, and they'll come to you. Maybe they'll even give you feedback. It's a much more kind of equal adult to adult discussion. Whereas when we haven't got rapport, frequently we avoid having any sort of conversation, and certainly avoid having those difficult conversations. So you might want to think about who is it that you need to build and maintain better rapport with. And sometimes you can go, and certainly in 2 organisations I worked for, in the first year we were at the top of the equation of the model, and we had very good rapport, and then actually we got incredibly busy and people were out of the office. It was I have to say, a long time ago, before the days of email and mobile phones, and we saw each other very little, and that rapport started to deteriorate, and we were down the bottom. It made the management meetings we had once a month very, very difficult. So it's with some people you need to constantly be building rapport. So look out for my next video, which is going to be about how to build rapport with other people. So thank you for watching.